If you're one of those people who are worried that Trump just wiped out most of your 401k, then do I have news for you. You might be thinking, well, Trump just put in that 90-day waiting period, so that'll settle markets down. And you also might be thinking, I heard he also exempted a ton of tech-related items from China, so that ought to settle things down. So you might think that, but remember, as we all knew from watching cabinet nominations, the Trump administration is nothing but a clown show. And after their appearance on the Sunday morning shows, you can pretty much bet that Monday is not going to be a good day. I'm going to show a series of videos which pretty much make clear why the Trump regime is still trying to fight fire with fire in the first floor parlor, hoping to save the attic. Let's start with how Trump's band of sycophants are pantsing the world economy just so they can bask in the limelight of the orange clown. This is what Elizabeth Warren has to say about them.
There is no tariff policy. It's just all chaos and corruption. That's all we have going on. And how can you believe any of these guys? What did Donald Trump tweet out all in caps? I will not back down. How many hours was that? 24 hours, 30 hours?
Warren is right on the money here when she says it's about chaos and corruption. But what she didn't do is spell out the corruption, which she really should have. The chaos is a way of cultivating the corruption. Countries which do not want tariffs are going to have to personally negotiate with Trump. And guess what? Those negotiations are going to include payments to Trump through untraceable Bitcoin transactions. And here, I'm not necessarily saying that they will pay Trump directly. It might just be that they purchase a ton of his crypto, which raises the value and makes him billions. And that's what drives this chaos. As Warren points out, there's no plan here. And if you doubt that, just listen to resident whack job Peter Navarro. Here's what Navarro had to say.
There's three kinds. There's the high-end chips, which is the AI future. Okay, we've got to get control of that. And then there's everything else that fuels our autos and on down.
Fair enough. I hear what you're saying on investigation, but there is currently an exclusion for some of those products.
You want to call it exclusion, potatoes.
No, it's not.
What it is.
The White House called it an exclusion.
Well, but let's say, here's, I think, another thing that's really important. When people talk about the chaos or lack of strategy, whatever, you just go back to day one. I was there when the president signed it. It was the second to last order he signed. It was in the Oval that night. Yeah. And it was the America First trade policy, which laid out every single thing we're doing. And it would be remiss for anybody in the media not to review that carefully and see that there's rhyme to our reason and rhythm to what we're doing.
The last tariffs are good pseudo-economist fundamentally fails to address the point. He is spinning the fact that Trump is now making exemptions and then trying to say black is white. And if that wasn't bad enough for the markets, listen to Howard, Which Way is the Wind Blowing and How Long Can I Kiss Trump's Backside? Lutnick.
Well, if you remember, over the past couple of months, President Trump has called out pharmaceuticals and semiconductors and autos. He called them sector tariffs. And those are not available for negotiation. They are just going to be part of making sure we reshore the core national security items that need to be made in this country. We need to make medicine in this country. We learned it during COVID. We need to make it in this country. We need to make semiconductors, because if we don't own semiconductors here, remember, virtually all semiconductors are made now in Taiwan.
So here's the first warning sign that the markets are never going to trust the Trump clown show. Howard Lutnick gets on the Sunday shows and just flat out lies. Virtually all semiconductors are not made in Taiwan. The Biden administration already began the process of bringing chip manufacturing back to the U.S. through the CHIPS Act. So if the Trump administration wants to increase chip manufacturing in the U.S., they could build upon what Biden has already accomplished. They don't, because this is not about manufacturing. It's about chaos and corruption. Let's continue.
And so the president is going to come out with his policies on semiconductors and pharmaceuticals. They're going to be outside the reciprocal tariffs. And he was just making sure everyone understood that all of these products are outside the reciprocal tariffs, and they are going to have their own separate way of being considered.
So you're saying that the big tariffs on things like smartphones and laptops, iPhones, all those iPhones built in China, that those tariffs are temporarily off, but they're going to be coming right back on in another form in a month or so? Or what are you saying?
Correct. That's right.
So there you have it in a nutshell. The thing that markets absolutely don't want to hear, that this is going to be variable and capricious. The markets are already nosediving and did not respond favorably to the fake formula this administration tried floating. Now you've got Lutnick flapping his gums talking nonsense. We could well be heading to a Black Monday very soon now. Two things are particularly alarming here. First, both Kristen Welker and John Karl fundamentally fail to confront these clowns in any meaningful way. Welker just lets Navarro steamroll her. Navarro said the media is not doing its job and doesn't know what it's talking about. And she just lets him. Then Lutnick lies about chips being made in America, and Karl just lets him. Lutnick dodges him, and Karl tries to get him to answer the question. He never holds Lutnick's feet to the fire. If you had any hope that the media was going to learn their lesson from 2016, then your hope was misplaced. They are not only fundamentally able to do the job, but it's a near certainty that they are being told not to meaningfully confront these clowns, let alone cut them down to size. The other thing that is particularly alarming here is Lutnick's insistence that we have to make our own pharmaceuticals, chips, and electronics. Why? Because those sectors will be vital in being able to fight a large-scale war or an arbitrary one. And don't put it past this administration to start either kind of war. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.